Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
Hello and welcome to this episode of our show. This is your host, Keith Doherty. Today our special guest is broker Jason Farris of Fresyes Realty based out of Fresno, California. In 2004, Jason got his start in real estate selling land for his uncle, who had been in real estate most of his professional life. After 2 years, Jason got his broker's license and he made the switch to residential sales. He started with realty concepts before opening his own brokerage. He opened his own company with 8 agents under the name Fresyes. The business is an expansion of Fresyes.com, an online blog and real estate website that he started about 6 years ago to give home buyers information about the neighborhood where they were interested in buying a home. He's also been featured in Top Agent magazine. So with all that, Jason, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me, Keith. I appreciate it.
Excellent. Jason, if we could get started, what led you into real estate? Obviously, your bio kind of leads us a little bit. Maybe if you could expand on that. What led you into it? I mean, was it something you wanted to do, or did you kind of stumble into it?
You know, Keith, since my first job at 14 years of age, all I've ever done is some type of work that involves serving others. In that, I've just learned that success comes with building relationships and building trust and serving the community. And so it just kind of seemed like a natural path to take.
Excellent. And what personal attributes, traits, or qualities do you think have most contributed to the success that you've had, and how do you think you developed those?
You know, first and foremost, I would say being a good listener, really focusing in on what my clients are saying and asking for. Of course, being ethical and honest allows me to sleep at night, and then treating real estate like a business is what keeps dinner on the table. You know, we're all given the same 24 hours in a day to get things done, and I believe strongly that you got to fight for seconds.
Excellent. And do you think maybe you could give our listeners an example or specific of examples of when these traits have played a role in your path towards success?
Interesting. Let me say this. You know, timing is everything, right? Most agents and clients alike don't realize how much I think hustle plays into somebody's success. 1 hour wasted here or there can be the difference between getting your client a home that they want or not. Taking the time to do something more for somebody out of the ordinary, like stopping off and dropping off a card or knocking to say hello, really makes a difference. There was I don't want to say a turning point in my career, but at some point I decided to keep little cards in my car. And if at any point I got off the phone with somebody or thought to myself, hey, this is a really nice home, I would drop by and leave a little note and say, hey, I really enjoy, your home has amazing curb appeal. I just thought I'd share that with you. Or during the holidays, somebody who's taken some extra time to decorate their house at the outside, and just letting them know. Never trying to sell them, just paying them a compliment, really. And so at some point, for instance, I saw a piece of land that I drove by often. I noticed development was going that direction. So I took the time to look up who owned it, and then I went to their home and just didn't do a door knock, so to say, as I just, introduced myself and said, hey, I noticed you own this piece of land, and have you ever thought about selling it? And he says, well, I've been approached, but quite frankly, no one's been honest and just sat down and explained to me what the process would be like. And I said, I'd be happy to. And, over the course of maybe two or three visits, I listed his land for sale for several $million dollars, and got on the phone, called every developer in town, some out of town, put in the hustle, the hard work, not just assign in the piece of land and waited for the business to come to me. I went out there and found it for him and sold that piece of property for several $million dollars, which for him and his family was substantial. It would be for anybody, right? But but their particular time in their family, they needed that money, and so it helped them take care of some medical issues and really made a difference. And for me, of course, there's a commission on that, and that helped me and my family. But that was the day I thought, what I'm doing, this little extra effort, it matters, the hustle going. And so from that day forward, I stocked up on those cards and did more of the same, right?
I think that's great. It kind of goes to the, front of mind type thing where, you're not just, blatantly trying to sell somebody. Like you said, you give them a compliment, and it just so happens that, on the card, you're a broker, you're in real estate, so you can help them. And I think that positive moment, or taking the time to actually talk to, like he said, he's like, people are approaching me, but nobody's giving me information. So here's a guy that's kind of wants to, but doesn't know what to do or the way, and you gave him a little time and a little attention and education, and next thing you know, you have a property, you have a listing to sell.
That's right. That's right. Building relationships with people is, it's everyone's heard that over. Anybody who is interested in business, has heard that 100 times. But it really is the key. Building relationships. People got to like you before they can trust you, and once they can trust you, then they'll ask for your business. You don't even have to ask them.
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously, as you've kind of built up your business, I'm sure everything wasn't perfect along the way. So maybe could you discuss maybe some major adversities or trials that you had to overcome in order to build the success that you've had?
Good question. How am I going to answer this? I'm going to say that going from being reactionary. That's how I used to work years ago in the business. I was very reactionary. So someone called me and said, "Hey, I'm looking to buy a home," and I'd pick myself up and I'd go show them the home. Well, that's not hustle. And so I remember there was a day, I kid you not, Keith, that I did not have. I owned a home with my wife and kids, but I did not have enough money to fill up my gas tank so that I could go show homes. Now, I had some deals in escrow. I was going to get paid, 20, 30 days from now, and things were going to be okay, but I couldn't fill up my gas tank. And I sat there and I said, I can't just continue to sit here and wait for the work to come. And you got to go out there and get it. And so we live in a society, first of all, that we're very blessed to live in a society in which we can live in something, we can cook in something, our kids can run around in something, with something being our homes, and yet they appreciate and value, and so we're pretty blessed to be in a society, but really not being reactionary means, stepping outside your house and starting to if you're in real estate, introduce yourself to the neighbor and the neighbor and the neighbor. You could drive a mile and you have a whole brand new neighborhood full of people. And so that's what I did. I said, this is ridiculous. I'm concerned about my kids. I want to be able to put them in good schools, make sure when they need braces, I can go and afford that. And I don't have enough money to put gas in my car. What's going on here? And so I literally got dressed that morning and changed my routine, and I've never looked back.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you sharing that with everybody, but I think it's pretty powerful that, like you said, instead of just, like that reactionary position to actually take charge and go out and just, it's not like you're going out to sell, right? Like you said, you're just going out to forge relationships and let those relationships cultivate. But that way, the more people that knew about you and what you did, the more opportunities could come your way.
Exactly. Spot on.
So kind of looking forward, well, actually, before we get to that, I guess, a simple question could be, you had these obstacles, so you hit that point where you're like, I don't even have money to put in the tank. Well, at that point, what kept you going despite the obstacle? Obviously, you said the family, but maybe I had to go look at a job at that point. Why didn't you give up? Why did you decide to forge forward with your real estate business?
It sounds cliche-ish, but it really is family. At the time, my little girl, I think, was 7 years old. My son would have been 3, and this is our big, this is our why, right? Our family. At least it was my why, my kids, and to think that if I don't start hustling, start really working hard, I'm not going to be able to provide for them. And what kind of father would I be? And so that was really it. And that was it, just thinking of them. And my parents worked hard, and I had opportunities because of their efforts. And I'm sitting here waiting for my phone to ring. That's not work,
We're like, yeah, I got my real estate license. Let the money come.
Well,
right?
And that's what I've since coached a lot of agents in this business, and that's it, right? Is they sit back and they think, well, the phone just ring, and that's where the money comes in, I'm good, right? Well, no, that's not it. I give them an example often. I say, what does your friend do for a living? Well, my friend's an accountant. Okay, what time's your friend, the accountant, show up at work? Well, 7 in the morning. And he's done at what time? 6 or 7 at night if he's lucky. Okay, so he's putting in, 50, 60 hours a week? Oh, yeah, at least. And then he gets a paycheck, right? Well, yeah. Well, what time do you start your day? Well, I don't know. I got up around 9, had breakfast, and read the newspaper. I poked around on Facebook a little bit, and I don't know. I was in the office around 11. I said, okay. And then you went to lunch. Well, yeah. But I, met some people, and and we start going through the week, and they've maybe put in 8, 9 hours a week of work. And I said, so you think you should get paid for 8 or 9 hours of work for the work? It's kind of an eye opener when you think about it that way.
Yeah, absolutely. A key point there, and I think I want to stress with our listeners is you talked about a why, having a why. And I think it's big, no matter what it is, whether it's family, whether it's, just your own personal drive, whatever it is, but to have that attachment to something of why you're not going to, because everybody's going to run into obstacles. You're always going to hit a bump in the road with something. So that's when you need to turn to that why and really say, okay, I need to focus on this because I need to get through this. I don't need to turn the other way, and quitting's not an option.
That's right.
All right. So if we could maybe look forward a little bit as you continue to grow, what do you see the vision for your career, say, over the next 5 years?
I just want to continue raising the bar, doing so much for my clients that in order to compete with me in the marketplace, other agents are forced to do more for their clients as well. And that's a win for me. There's plenty of business out there. I don't need it all, but I obviously want the most. But really, I want to raise the bar. I want to. There's this stigma, in real estate about they're car salesmen, and it just drives me crazy because nothing could be further from the truth for me. And I understand that's not for everybody, but if we continue to do more for our clients and work hard for them in order to compete, agents are going to have to do more. And if they're doing more, I'm raising the bar, and that's really what the big picture is for me, raising the bar for the industry.
Excellent. And kind of looking at how you do that, what do you feel the best way that you continue to market yourself and your business as a real estate professional so you can have that continual growth?
Marketing like it's today. Marketing like it's 2016, not like it's 2005 or 1997. Staying up on trends. Social media, for one. I was an early adapter in social media, but social media is evolving every day. Let's see, this year alone, I've completed 2 transactions where the preferred communication from my client has been on Snapchat. People are like, Snapchat? Some people don't even know what that is, but clients, we're talking about, professionals. One was an accountant and one was a correctional officer at a prison. And one was a seller, one was a buyer, and they both had successful transactions with me, but their preferred communication was on Snapchat. I've sold numerous homes, dozens, using Instagram as a profile, as a platform for the marketing of my properties. Dozens, Keith, and so agents who aren't doing these things aren't staying up on the trends, and as a result, they're just, they're not representing their clients well, and they'll go away, because everyone will realize that in order to, get the most amount of money for the least amount of time for your property in this market, you need to be with somebody who's marketing like it's 2016.
Yeah, I think a thing that kind of highlight there is, like you said, in every business, there's going to be ups and downs, and there's going to be changes, and especially when it comes to marketing. Like you said, we're in a day and age of, Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and YouTube and Snapchat, and who knows what the next thing is going to be. But it's amazing to me and we've talked to some other realtors that said the same thing, that they've closed deals off of, Snapchat seems to be popping up a lot. And we're looking at it thinking, like, really? People are getting business off of something that was meant for people to interact quickly in, little chat messages. And but if that's where somebody's comfortable and that's what they want to do, then, like you said, you got to be there. Otherwise, are you going to leave a deal on the table just because of, I didn't want to use that app?
That's right. Well, and the younger generation, the millennials, are making, first of all, they're the fastest growing group of buyers out there. But even like my kids, like my daughter's 13 now, right? Now she'll never make the buying decision for me, but I have witnessed kids her age make the buying decision for their parents. The parent will call me and say, my daughter just showed me a video on Instagram that you did on a house, and she thinks we should look at it. And so I will go out and meet the parent, and this has happened numerous times, and they've literally loved the house and written the offer. And I'll say, where did you hear about this house from? They said, my daughter is the one who brought us the house. She said we had to have it, so I bought it for her.
Hey, I'd take it all day long. That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, so you got to be where the eyes are, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And apparently the younger, like you said, even the younger generation, if they're bringing you business, by all means, get in front of them.
Yeah.
So you kind of mentioned this a little bit before about, agents sometimes have that, perception from the market. So what do you think the biggest misconception or myth that's out there that people have about working with a real estate agent?
I think it seems to me that the biggest misconception is that people believe we're just in it for the money. And it's just, and then we'll do anything and everything to just get the deal done so we can get paid. And that, I just don't believe that that's true. I mean, unfortunately, it probably is true with some agents. I'm hoping to weed those out over time. But it's just not true. I tell the agents I coach that, you have to, this is a marathon. If you're really going to be in this business for a long time, you need to think about it as a marathon, not the sprint. The sprinter, the real estate agent that's the sprinter, well, yes, they will do everything they can to just close the deal and get paid and walk away. And they will tell you, you ask, what was the name of the client's home you just sold on Terrace Avenue? And they won't know the name. They won't know that person's name. And you'll say, are you kidding me? You don't know their name? You just closed last week. Didn't you build any kind of relationship with the person? No. Well, there's lots of other buyers and sellers out there. I'll meet someone else next week. Well, that's a bad mentality, and those are the agents that end up going part-time because they need other jobs. The marathon, the agent who's in it for the marathon is the person who is willing to walk away from the deal. They're willing to tell their buyer, hey, this home has some issues that you really, in my professional opinion, you need to walk away from and understand that another house will come on the market tomorrow. And that's a bold thing for an agent to be able to do. And, they have to be successful enough to be able to walk away from it. But a good agent will. A good agent will put their client first. And that's the marathoner, because those clients are the ones that are going to end up with the great house at a great deal and are going to refer you all their friends and family and coworkers for years to come.
Yeah, I think you hit on another key point there that we'll point out to our listeners is, as you talked about, focusing on, really serving others and finding out what somebody really needs. And even if it's not at the end of the day, that if that deal doesn't make sense for them based upon what they need or based upon what you find, you're not thinking, okay, well, if I tell them this, I'm going to lose my commission, right? You're thinking, I got to tell them this because it's my duty, ethically, as well as, as a person to treat them as I would want somebody to treat me. And by doing this, it sounds like you've been able to, serve people, provide that value, and the money will come. The money eventually comes because you're doing the right thing and you're taking care of other people.
That's right.
So kind of let's take a hypothetical situation. Let's say you get a call from a family member in another state. They want to sell their home. Let's say they're in New York. They thought they were going into spring. Snow came. And they're like, all right, you know what? We're done. Let's go move out and let's hang out with Jason. So what advice would you give them about selecting an agent in their area? What would you tell them to look for? Someone that could best serve their needs, kind of like you take care of your clients. What would you tell them to do?
Interview multiple agents and compare their services, and then ask for specific examples of the things they claim they do. So if an agent says, hey, I do X, Y, Z, say, I'd like to see that. And that agent, he or she should be able to provide proof of whatever this X, Y, Z is. A lot of people fall into the trap of just interviewing one agent because they're with the big brand or because maybe it's a family friend. And the reality is they're looking to sell, most likely the biggest thing they'll sell in their lives, we're $200,000, $500,000, $1 million home. he said, this is a big decision, and you've got to get the most qualified person out there. And the most qualified person may not be your friend. It may not be the family friend. It may not be the company, the guy who works for the big brand company. So I would always say interview multiple agents, ask for specific examples of what they do, and actually see it. Don't just be told that they do it. Ask them to provide that proof.
Excellent. Now, if Jason, somebody wants to learn more about you, or they need an agent in your area, what's the best way they can find out more information about you and how you can help them?
Well, Fresyes.com. So instead of Fresno, which is the city that we're here in, I changed it, and it's Fresyes, so it's the positive. So Fresyes.com.
Excellent. And did you want to talk about that a little bit? Because it was kind of neat. I saw that you actually have a whole site around that. Did you want to talk about that community a little bit?
If you don't mind, sure.
Absolutely. I think it's a great concept. So by all means, I think it's pretty neat what you've done there.
Well, yeah. Over the years, we would living in Fresno. We hear little jokes about our town all the time. There's lots of examples on movies where people say, "Oh, where are you going, Fresno? Oh, geez, that can't be fun." And so it get kind of living here and loving where I live, it kind of got a little old. And so I don't remember exactly how it went down. I mean, I did own a business before real estate that used the word yes, and so I was really trying to somehow incorporate this positive attitude into the name of my real estate company when I got started. But at some point I said Fresyes, and it was years ago when the web was just getting started, so I reserved the domain name, which is a pretty short name and powerful and cute and clever, Fresyes.com. But more importantly, I didn't want to be one of these real estate sites that has a picture of my mug and I'm holding my thumb up and here's my listings. I wanted to provide something a little bit more of value, as well as cure that misconception that Fresno isn't a good place to live. And so I started blogging. I started writing about, the mom and pop restaurant over here on this corner in this neighborhood. I started interviewing principals of schools, athletic directors. One of the most popular stories we had was on a lineman at one of the high schools. Instead of interviewing the typical quarterback, I said, let's interview somebody else. And so I just started writing about the neighborhoods, photographing it, doing video, and I've been doing it for years. There's at some point, it started to kind of grow, and more readers started checking out the site. And they realized that, because there's a lot of sites out there you can look for homes on. You can go to Zillow, Realtor.com, Truly, all types of different sites where you can get statistical information on a home. 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,500 square feet, what the asking price is. But what you can't readily find out there in the marketplace, at least anywhere but Fresyes.com, is what it's like to live in the neighborhood. And so that's what our site really aims to do, is give people a sense of, what is Fig Garden like? And so you see the pictures, the videos, you see the interviews, and the neighbors, you see the photos of the homes, and you're like, okay, I get that. I get what it's like to I get a sense of that community, and then we go and show them homes. And so now I have a whole team of writers. So we've got a new post, at least one post a day, and it could range from, a recipe made with local ingredients, or we've got a local baseball team here that was the World Series champion for AAA last year, and so we've got a post on them today. And then we, of course, incorporate our listings, so the homes that I'm selling, we incorporate them into the articles. So like we've got a neighborhood, Clovis North, for instance, is a neighborhood near Fresno, and so if I listed a home in Clovis North, we would deliberately write a story about something that's going on in Clovis North area, whether it's an interview or just something about a park or a trail or something in that neighborhood. And then the 90,000 people a month that are going to the site are reading the story, but also they're seeing information about my client's home right there in the story.
Excellent. Yeah, it sounds like a really neat idea. It kind of goes on the whole way you talked about engaging the community and really opening things up and bringing a positive light to where there might have been a little negativity, like you said, and turn around to Fresyes, make it more positive and an inviting, environment and community. So I think that's awesome.
Providing some value.
Yeah, excellent. Well, Jason, I certainly wanted to, take the time for thanking you to take time out of your schedule to come here today and share your business experience with all of our listeners. If you guys want to learn more about Jason and what he can do for you, you can go to fresyes.com. We'll also have a link below this interview, so you can go there and any other contact information that we have for Jason. So until our next show, everybody have a great day, and we'll talk to you guys all soon.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.